Hi, I'm Michael O'Donnell. This is a project for my master's program through Arizona State University. The class this project is for is called STC 512 Data, Places, People, and Things. For this class, we were tasked with coming up with a new IoT device. The IoT device that I worked on was an air pollution monitoring device. Now, since there are already many instances of this product that consumers can purchase on the market, this project aims to sell the idea of using workshop classes in a community that shows how to use citizen science along with DIY IoT devices like the air pollution monitor to gather and share information from the world around them. Although the final cost of what is needed for the device is comparable to some monitors on the market, this does not have the black box nature that they do. It can be customized and it can be connected to the web to share data. This project can be scaled down if users would like to save money as well, which is another positive feature of using this method. This project aims to teach how to get the device connected to social media using a webhook to automate the sending of data for all to see. This will allow people in the community to understand all the steps of gathering and displaying the data that anyone can access from the web. I was inspired to do this project by the social fallout from the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. This disaster happened 37 miles away from the house I grew up in and where my family still lives. According to Taiwan Morning, on February 23, 2023, a Norfolk Southern train derailed that had around 20 cars carrying hazardous materials. To ward off an explosion, officials let the gases out of the cars and into the air. The EPA in Norfolk Southern stated that the solution was being monitored closely and there is no harm to humans. But then reports came out that thousands of aquatic wildlife near the site had died. And then more reports came out that many people had pets near the area that fell sick from it as well. This led to many people going to social media and town halls to explain their experiences and their frustrations with the lack of information that was being given to them. When I found out about the IoT project that we got to make for class, I immediately thought of this and wanted to address the problem that it presented. The problem I'm specifically addressing is the lack of information available regarding air pollution. Ramirez et al. Found 3 themes emerge when it comes to the lack of communication surrounding air pollution. These themes are 1. Lack of clarity about responsibility for communicating about air quality. 2. Existing air quality communication strategies lack critical information including risk mitigation behaviors and long-term health impacts. And 3. Existing air quality communications fail to reach vulnerable populations. Although this paper looked at one geographical area, the research provides a good case study for other areas as well. It especially applies to areas that have a high population of racial and ethnic minorities along with low-income people as well. These populations are disproportionately affected by air pollution according to Stewart et al. Stewart et al. Also found that air pollution can drastically change from neighborhood to neighborhood. Many monitoring systems do not collect localized information as they should be doing, which can convey incorrect information to residents. For example, someone from one neighborhood may go online to see the air quality index, or AQI, for their town, but see the air quality for where the sensor is located, which could be in a neighborhood with different air quality. Since there is a lack of communication surrounding air pollution measurements that disproportionately affect communities that are already facing various inequalities, it is paramount that there is an alternative solution for people to understand that the air that they are breathing. Without proper policy and systemic changes that alter the air that everyone breathes, these populations who are unaware of the air pollution in their community are going to continue to face high rates of health issues. Campa and Castana state that air pollution has both acute and chronic effects on human health, affecting a number of different systems and organs. It ranges from minor upper respiratory irritation to chronic respiratory and heart disease, lung cancer, acute respiratory infections in children, and chronic bronchitis in adults, aggravating pre-existing heart and lung disease or asthma attacks. In addition, short and long-term exposures have been linked with premature mortality and reduced life expectancy. The issues raised by air pollution can have devastating effects on community and individual health, and since research has shown that there is a lack of communication and awareness with information on air pollution, it is time for individuals to take this matter into their own hands. Rebecca Solnit argues in her book, A Paradise Built in Hell, The Extraordinary Communities That Arise in Disaster, that humans have an intrinsic goodness that makes people want to help and cooperate during times of disaster. She shows this by explaining how in 5 different disasters throughout history, people and communities affected by great tragedies have overcome these challenges by working together. Even though air pollution does not have the same immediate effects on a community as an earthquake does, for example, the themes explored in her book show how a community working together can overcome a great challenge. This can also be applied to monitoring air pollution through the use of citizen science. Silverton wrote that a citizen scientist is a volunteer who collects and/or processes data as a part of a scientific inquiry. Projects that involve citizen scientists are burgeoning, particularly in ecology and the environmental sciences, although the roots of citizen science go back to the very beginnings of modern science itself. The European Environment Agency states that citizen science initiatives can produce useful information about local air quality. Such information can be used, for example, to improve official air quality models used to estimate pollution levels and identify suitable actions to improve air quality. The initiatives often also help to raise public awareness of air quality problems, which can lead to stronger public measures to address the issues or changes in personal behavior, such as switching from driving to walking or cycling. In the near future, the increasing number of citizen science initiatives focused on air pollution, coupled with new data digitalization approaches, may represent a paradigm shift in the way that air quality is monitored, the EEA report states. A large network of low-cost sensors combined with statistical analysis or machine learning could complement the quality of the current official data and provide new pathways to obtain accurate real-time information. The intersection between citizen science and monitoring air pollution brings the possibility to bring change to a community when it is enacted and practiced by the people. As said above, this happens through people becoming aware of the issue and then working together to implement policy changes, which then affects the air quality. A case study that shows how well this can work comes from the town of Tonawanda, New York. In 2004, the community became aware of something being off in the air. They noticed smoke and weird smells, which let them know that something needed to be done, especially since the area was near an industrial site. Volunteers grouped together and used simple and cheap monitors to collect air samples and found that the air was being polluted with high levels of benzene. The volunteer citizen scientists took these findings to the New York Department of Environmental Conservation and the EPA. This then led to the Tonawanda Coke Corporation agreeing to improve their operations to emit less air pollution, which decreased benzene levels by 86%. Although the issue of air pollution is new on the timescale of Earth, it is not new from the perspective of industrial society. For example, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania experienced severe air pollution from the burning of coal and steel for many years. According to Davidson, the city became synonymous with smoke. Davidson also goes on to explain that Denora, Pennsylvania was home to the first air pollution disaster. Smoke was unable to go into the atmosphere and was trapped in the valley where the town was located. Many people fell ill, were hospitalized, and 20 people died from the event. The people of the Pittsburgh region came together to demand policy changes that reduced the pollution industries gave off, which then in turn allowed air pollution to start clearing up. Although citizen science was not used here, this example shows the power people hold in working together to change policies that affect air pollution. A study conducted by Mahan et al. Found that when participants in the study were treated as citizen scientists monitoring air pollution who could design their own studies and research questions, it allowed them to raise awareness, provide reliable data for researchers, engage the community at a grassroots level, and to lead citizens and scientists working together in their communities. These findings support the idea that when people use citizen science to monitor air pollution, it brings people together and leads to positive change. Many organizations, such as the EPA, mainly discuss solving the issue of air pollution from an individual perspective. The methods they discuss are important for people to implement into their lives. Some of these include conserving electricity, taking a cleaner commute, not burning trash, not using gas-powered lawn equipment, etc. Although these are important for everyone to implement in their lives, air pollution cannot be solved from an individual perspective. The methods the EPA discusses look at air pollution through the lens of a hyper-individualist capitalism society when the issue is a community issue. What happens when a company is causing air pollution and is not being caused by individual choices, like in the example from Tonawanda? Since there's a lack of information about air pollution and the blame being put on individuals, my solution takes a community-level approach to spread awareness on air pollution and how to work together to enact policy changes to benefit everyone. So, to conclude this section, air pollution is a problem in many marginalized communities who are not being given access to information about their air. This can have devastating long-term health effects. History shows that when communities come together to demand policy intervention, changes will come that help the community. To bring about policy change, citizen scientists can work together using IoT air monitoring devices to gather data on the air around their community for air pollution. These devices enable data to be shared quickly and easily for everyone in a community to see. With the data they gather, they can work together to enact policy changes that can help reduce pollutants that are being put into the air. This will not solve the issue of air pollution entirely, but it is one facet that needs to be done to address the larger issue. Moving on to the more technical side of the project. This project will be using a Raspberry Pi Pico W, a Pimoroni Enviro Plus, and a Pimoroni PMS5003 sensor as the main components of the device. These are the essential aspects of the device, but other options can be added which are up to the user. In total, these have a combined cost of around $84. With everything combined, it will probably be around $100 or so total for anyone who wants to participate in this program to build the full device. Many similar devices on the market for consumers to purchase can cost upwards of a few $100s. These are also not customizable, cannot share data directly to social media. This project gives participants the feel of it being open source. The device I am proposing detects temperature, humidity, pressure, gas, lux, mic, PM1, PM2.5, and PM10. Particulate matter can be used as an accurate proxy to determine air pollution. According to the EPA, PM stands for particulate matter, also called particle pollution, the term for a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets found in the air. Some particles, such as dust, dirt, soot, or smoke, are large or dark enough to be seen with the naked eye. Others are so small that they can only be detected using an electron microscope. Particle pollution includes PM10, which are inhalable particles with diameters that are generally 10 micrometers and smaller, and PM2.5, which are fine inhalable particles with diameters that are generally 2.5 micrometers and smaller. To connect the device to social media, the webhook IFTTT, or if this then that, can be used to link the Pico W to Twitter. Social media is an important aspect of this project since, according to Pew Research, 70% of Americans use some form of social media every day. Since so many people use social media, this project aims to harness that to make localized air pollution data more accessible for communities. The webhook costs $3 a month to use. Using everything together is a relatively straightforward process that anyone with little previous programming skills can get a grasp of. The workshop class will be held at the local library where anyone can come to learn how to use this device and hopefully have one provided to them for free. The workshop will explain the concepts of citizen science and stress the importance of them going out and conducting their own research with this device. The workshop will also include resources for the participants to have if they want to tinker with the device. The goal of the workshop is to start a new group of citizen scientists who monitor localized air pollution in their community and share it with everyone to have access, so anyone can have access to it. This will hopefully lead the people in the community becoming more aware of air pollution and can even lead to policy change if the need arises. So, for the actual device itself, I did not have a concrete design from the start. I let the project lead me in the direction it needed to go and solved problems when I came across them. This is not normally how designing a project should go, but it works for me. I found the Pimoroni devices online researching IoT air pollution sensors, so I bought them to experiment with. They worked great with the Pico W MicroPython. I was quickly able to start gathering data about air pollution where I live. This was convenient since I was able to test this when wildfire smoke from Canada was causing bad air quality for my community. The next step for me was to get this connected to a Twitter account I made. I chose Twitter because I knew it was possible to easily automate tweets through their API. I initially struggled to get the data sent to Twitter. I was trying to use a Python package called Tweepy, but quickly found that it was not compatible with MicroPython. After doing some research, I stumbled upon IFTTT. I used this next and had success getting data automatically sent from the Pico to my Twitter account. I then struggled getting all of the particulate matter readings to send. And after a lot more research, I found that it had to do with the HTTPS request string needed a certain pattern to send correctly. At this point, I had the Pico W sending all of the particulate matter data to Twitter, but the program would fail after a few times of the data being sent. After another round of intense web searching, I finally figured out that the code was causing a memory leak, which could cause the Pico to shut down essentially. To fix this, I had to close the socket connection of the post request to Twitter. When I started testing this, my PMS5003 sensor stopped collecting particulate matter data. I went to Pimoroni's Discord channel and messaged their support team and came to the conclusion that the sensor is probably dead. They are giving me a free replacement, which is being sent to me as I make this. It's not supposed to come in until next Tuesday. And as a side note, their customer service is awesome. Highly recommend them. Anyways, I started testing with the other readings from the Enviro Plus, and it seems to be working fine. So once I get the new PMS 5003 sensor, I'll be able to do a real test run and let it sit for a few days to send PM data to Twitter. So here's what the code looks like.
Okay, so here's the code demo. This is the code for the to send data to Twitter from the PMS 5003 sensor. So we have the import statements right here. These import statements are also taking code from drivers that are on the Pico itself, and I got these from P. Maroney's website and their GitHub. They have some very handy guides online. Yeah, so just import some statements that we'll use. Just getting it connected to the Wi-Fi. Normally right here you put your SSID and a password, but I took that out for the sake of the video. Then I added some just a quality of life code right here when I'm running the actual sensor, like with the UI. And this is just code that just sets up the Enviro Plus. And then this is the while statement that runs, like we've been doing in class with the log that we also learned about in class. I didn't want to just send the data to Twitter. I also wanted to log it too, just in case like something like the webhook, something happens with the webhook, and then it can still log data that we could go and check. Yeah, so then this is just like doing the calculations again. This is from Pimoroni. Um, and then here is it's just like some variables and then printing out the variables. I changed it to make it a little bit prettier than what they did. And then here's the log statements. I just commented those out for the time being, just since I'm doing just like test data. And then this is the original print statement, which I just took out because I just thought it didn't look that good. And then here's the message. So this is what sends this is the HTTPS request. So you have the URL, and then this right here, the post tweet, that is the action I named on IFTTT. And then with key, and then right before the question mark, you have the key that they give you, but I took that out for the sake of the video. And then this is what I struggled with after the question mark. You have the values. Um, I was really struggling to get all three. I was having trouble. Um, but you kind of just follow like the string logic of like using like plus and quotes and stuff. And this was another thing that I was hung up on was this response variable right here. And before I added that, I just had uRequest.postMessage, which would just send it through to Twitter. But every like I would say like on average it was like every three like after three times of the data being sent, it would error out because the socket wasn't being closed. So setting it to this response variable and then closing it solved that. And then this is just like more quality of life code, and this is actually wrong. I believe this is just from like a test code. It was supposed I think it's like 3600 for an hour. Um, yeah, that's it. That's the code for the whole project. Very simple and pretty easy to teach to others.
Here's what the webhook platform looks like.
Okay, so here is IFTTT. This is I guess the homepage for like my dashboard. Um, so here's the event name, the post tweet. That was in the HTTPS. Yeah, I think I said that right. Then they're requesting the code. It sends to the Twitter account SC Pollution. So you did have to connect the Twitter account to this. Would not the best thing ever, but so yeah, we can go take a little tour. Um, go into the settings for this. So if IFTT receives a web request, then it posts the tweet to State College Pollution. Yeah, it's pretty. The trigger is really easy. This was really easy to set up. Um, Same with this. So uh, yeah, this is how you set up the tweet through here. That's why you can only send three values, but like I can edit this and then update it when I want. So when I want to change it to particulate matter, I can change it back. And yeah, that's pretty much the webhook aspect, very easy stuff, very nice.
Here's what my Twitter account looks like with all the test data that has been sent.
My Twitter account that I'm using, very early stages. I know it's not the prettiest looking thing yet, but I just wanted to have something up. Um, and you feel free to follow it too, take all the followers I can get. So here's all the test data that's been sent so far. I've had this going for like the past day or so, I guess not that long, but started it last night. Um, just taking the temperature, the humidity, and the pressure inside the house. So yeah, these are just what have been going on. I don't think our AC is working very well, as you can tell. Got cool early in the mornings and the late in the evenings. Um, yeah. So I guess we can. So this is before I switched it over. This was the same data. I just didn't update the stuff on IFTTT. So yeah, that was just me testing and like playing around with the code and stuff. Um, but yeah, so like this is when I started noticing the issues on June 21st. It wasn't collecting the data. But on June 20th it was working fine, so I don't know what happened. Um, but yeah, so just scrolling through here, I guess you can just see like yeah, just just trying to play around and just try different things. I wanted to leave it all up to share everyone, just like it wasn't all wins in the project. There was a lot of failure that went into this and yeah, all that good stuff. So yeah, here's the very first one from June 9th.
So I also took the PMS 5003 apart to see if it needed cleaning, and here's what it looks like outside of its little safety enclosure. So here is the sensor running unboxed. As you can see, it's not getting any of the particulate matter readings, but it's getting everything else. So here's just what it looks like without it being in the box. You can see the little laser. This is how it detects the particulate matter with the laser and the sensor right there. And here's the fan. The fan's moving right now. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. And this is the Pico Enviro Plus all hooked up. Here's what the project looks like without the weatherproof casing that I'm building for it. So here is the PMS 5003 sensor running in its case. It just looks like this. It used to have a blue like plastic film over it, but I removed it when I was trying to pop the lids off because the screwdriver is scratching it. Then here's the Pico and the Enviro Plus. So this is just what it looks like all together. And it's not reading any of the particulate matter. And here's what it looks like inside the PVC enclosure to keep it protected from the weather. I did not put it outside just yet. I didn't want to since the sensor isn't taking measurements, so I just had the Pico send other data, so doing a bit of a test run. Okay, so here is the prototype that's eventually going to go outside. Thank you to Alex for the suction cup idea. It's working awesome. So I made a little bit of a mistake at Lowe's today, and I got the wrong diameter PVC, so it's kind of, it's not looking awesome. So the Pi and the Enviro Plus are stuck up there, so if this was working, hopefully it would actually be up in there to try to protect it from the elements a little bit better, but we will just have to work with what we have for now. It's just a prototype. So this is the moment of truth. Okay. I'm just gonna let this sit here for a second while it runs. All right, let's see if it's, because normally it sends one right away and then it's gonna reset for an hour. So yeah, it is working right now. It's sending data to Twitter, and it's gonna send every hour. So I will check back every hour and see how it goes. So after about
I think 12 hours or so. It's still up. I've been thinking about some different designs, so I definitely need a larger PVC pipe. And then I'm thinking about for the tape, it can go under the clamp next time to help the tape stay, because I want to have this like hanging down so the fan's able to get like the intake in. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the code failing either. It's been posting to Twitter every hour. Was doing it all night, so pretty cool. You can see the temperature lower as or I guess get higher, sorry, as the night goes on. Yeah, pretty cool.
So now that I've demonstrated what the hardware and this, I guess, the software, so to speak, looks like for the device, I'm gonna switch up the discussion to what the actual the components for the workshop I want to look like. So for the class that I would like to host at the library, I plan on demonstrating how to set up the device physically, how to get it connected to Thonny, how to add code to it, how to run the sensors, how to get the sensors connected to the web and social media, and how to share the data with others on social media, and to create a network of local citizen scientists. So, while all this was going on, I also tried to get in contact with the local library about having the device there and hosting the workshop class, but I never received a response. So as I continue this project, I will continue to try and get in contact with them to host the class. I also attempted to get feedback from experts and users. I guess potential users, sorry. I only received one response from a close friend. So I asked my friends group initially, since they are mostly graduate students in ecology, so I thought they would have some pretty good expert opinions to start off with and even be potential users. But everyone was mostly busy, which is understandable. But after the initial feedback from the class, I also went and emailed a couple of professors at ASU, but did not receive any responses. I also messaged a few experts on LinkedIn, and I did receive 2 responses saying they would give me feedback, but I haven't heard anything since, and that was a few days ago. So, yeah. So here is the one response I received from a potential user, aka my friend Victor. I'll leave it up here, and if you want to pause to read it, go ahead. Since I'm not trying to sell a product or policy, the economic model for this idea looks a bit different than a traditional device pitch would. So there are a few main concerns with what the project faces. The first is having the library greenlight the class. The second is having people who are interested show up to the class and continue participating in citizen science after the class. Third, the issue of funding for these devices for those who come to the class, since I do not want to have the participants pay. All of these issues still need to be worked out a bit more. For the first issue of having the library greenlight the class, I've already had my message to them go unresponsive, so I'll have to continue trying to make contact with them in different ways. I could try to call them next, go in person to talk to someone, and try to set up a meeting with one of the librarians. If these options do not work out, I can then start the process over by trying to find a different public area in my community that people can meet up at. I could try to find possibly like a local business that would want to support it. So for the second issue is having people who are interested come to the class and continue using the device after the class. I'll have to get the word out and make a good impression during the class. To get people to come to the class, I would try holding a social media campaign, hanging up flyers around town, and discussing with the library about having them advertise the workshops as well. To keep the participants who come, if they come, interested in continuing the use of the device, I want to do a good job covering all of the basics of the project so people can have enough knowledge to want to jump in and work on their own. I will stress to participants that a big factor in continuing this project will be learning on their own as well. For the third issue, which is financing the parts for the participants, I hope the library will be interested in financing it. There's a lot to ask for, so I'm not so sure that this will happen. So I could also try to go through Penn State University, since I'm in the town it is located in, which I also don't think is very likely. So if that would not work out, I could try ASU, but I think this will be tough since I'm a long way from their community. I could then see if someone or an organization with money would be interested in funding the project. I could perhaps partner with them to promote them or their business on the Twitter account, maybe like a local business, for example. Lastly, I could ask the participants who are interested in the workshop to fund the projects themselves. I do not want this to, I do not want to go this route since this is supposed to be accessible to all, and many people do not have the time or money to dedicate to this project. So I'm thinking maybe if like the money is not an issue, more people will be interested in the program. And for the analysis of stakeholders, I think the issues that I've spoke about above, which are having issues of the library greenlight the class, having dedicated participants come, and getting funding for the participants will be the issues for the stakeholders as well. I do not think there will be competitors to this idea because I think in this scenario it would make more sense to have citizen scientists from everywhere work together. I'm not trying to sell a product or start a new business. I just want to teach others. It will not be on the market, so I cannot see how competition will be involved in this. I think the critics will be the participants in the programs themselves, which is a good thing. Having and including their perspectives will help the program grow and be more egalitarian. Good partners for this workshop program will be anyone who is interested in it. So it is supposed to be open and accessible to anyone who's interested. This may be high school students, college students, professionals, homeowners, retirees, anyone really. The stakeholders for this project will be the library and the funders if someone or something does decide to fund the workshop. I believe the library will not have objectives other than having a safe place for people to gather and learn. I do believe funders will have objectives. I will need the co-op. Most people will not be giving away money just because they want to, and there will be a catch. I think these catches, so to speak, will be wanting to have their brand associated with the project. I'm open to working with whatever the funders would like as long as it does not interfere with the people of the community having these devices to conduct citizen science with. If it does interfere with the workshop, then I'll have to consider different funding opportunities. So, to conclude this pitch, I would like to host a workshop at the local library that teaches the community how to monitor air pollution with IoT air pollution monitors. Air pollution is a serious problem that is not effectively communicated within communities, and research shows that having the community involved in gathering data around it leads to policy change that brings cleaner air to communities. My device that I'm proposing is relatively cheap, it's very robust, and it's easy to use. Using these devices, along with proper education, has the potential to transform air in a community. So thank you so much for listening to this pitch, and I hope you found something worthwhile from it. I would love to hear your feedback or thoughts for what I can continue to improve this project. So thank you.